Hey, my good peoples. How's everyone doing? I'm doing great. I'm Renee Williams, a recovering addict. And I don't have to suffer and be sick no more. All I have to do is stay free from drugs and alcohol because this is a disease. And it's an addiction that we must strive to continue to stay free from. And we're going to take a moment of silence for the ones who still struggling in and outside of these walls. My God, my God. Oh, boy. I just had a good meeting. It was a very good Friday meeting. I hadn't been to a Friday meeting in years. And I want to give a shout out to the ones who celebrating clean times, sobriety, and that is very happy that they found change in their life. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. You know, shout out to the ones that's in recovery, that's in transitional livings, that is in women's and men's group homes for addiction. Got to give a shout out to the ones who lost loved ones to addiction, and we must go on. Simple, we must go on. A shout out to anyone that think that they can't do this. I used to be that way. I never thought I would stay clean. I never thought in imagined years that I can stay clean from drugs and alcohol. But somewhere down the line, I found a new way to live. From the drugs, from all active mood altering substance. I stayed away. Okay, we are talking about tonight, we push ourselves to the limit to allow us to find out why. And we did. For the ones that got it, for the ones that had to go through something to get it, we pushed ourselves to the limit. And I need to tell you why. I need to tell you why we did it. You know, because when I was in the streets and in that world, and I'm gonna get into some painful things tonight. That was very painful for me. And I had to tell the God of my understanding to search me, God. To the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. We are so grateful. We are so grateful to have a program that loves us and make us feel welcome and show us a new way to live without the things we drank and take to get through one more day. See, I don't know about nobody else, but I do know one thing. I know if it wasn't for the NA program, I wouldn't have made it. I'm just telling you straight up, I wouldn't have made it. I already know that. You know, been there, done that. You know, when I came into using drugs, I became somebody that I didn't even like. And I'm talking for the ones that know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to the ones that had to struggle to find their way to push themselves up, to get from the bottom and come up and do some soul searching and understand this disease. This isn't a disease. Don't let nobody tell you it's not. It's a disease that's conning and baffling and so very powerful. But you have to find the solution to your problems. And that's what I had to do. Hey, cuz. Hey, Pamela. Good to see you, baby. And you have to find a solution to any situation that come into your life. And baby, we gonna have some. We gonna have some situation, even when we doing and working our program, we gonna have some situations that come into our lives. And like I said tonight when I went to a meeting, I went to a Friday meeting, and I hadn't been to a Friday meeting. I went to find out something else and seen it was a Friday meeting. And I just went in and stayed in. Hey, my auntie Wanda, thank you, baby, bless you. Thank my cousin Pamela. It's always good to see you all on here. And you know, I know God is good, you know, because He was working for me when I didn't even want Him to work for me. He was working it out when I didn't even want Him to work it out. But He kept doing it. He kept pushing me to get it. He kept searching and talking to me and me talking to Him. But when I said we pushed ourselves to the limit to find out why, and we got it, and I'm going to tell you some things that I ain't even talked about to some people. Don't nobody know this, but God gave me a message to put it out there. And it was sometimes I was scared to talk about this. And when I say push to the limit, I remember when I came into, I hadn't even made it into recovery. I was struggling within myself, within my inner self, not knowing and not understanding the addiction. Didn't even know that I had an addicted. I heard people say, oh, girl, you're addicted to alcohol, you're addicted. But I didn't know it was a disease. And it caused us to be addicted to things that we can't stop. And I realized, you know, when I was struggling, I didn't have no hope. I was lonely. I was bent over, asking God why I can't stop. Let me tell you something, what I did. And I thought about this when I was writing this. Because some people I know have been through this. Hey, Maddie. Good to see you, Mama. Hey, Maddie. Good to see you. I had to realize some things about me. I had to realize the ugly, deep things about me that I needed to work on in order to stop pushing me to that limit. Well, you know, I told y'all about the old deal, the deal that how I crawled on the floor for about 45 minutes to steal from my mama. And that's pushing ourselves to the limit. But I never told you what pushing your limit can cause you to do. I remember when I was using and I was full of pain. And I remember buying a gun, making reservations. And I remember when I was in a house on 52nd and Villa. And I was using. Hey, I see my sister Evangelist Selena is on here. Good to see you, sis. And my sis, and nobody ever knew this. And this is where it calls you to, you looking at, you pushed yourself to the limit. Why? Well, let me go back a little bit. I was tired of being an addict. I was tired of being a crackhead. I was tired of living that life of drugs and alcohol or pills, whatever made me feel good. I was tired of it. I thought I was done with it, thought I was finished, but I kept using. That's why I said this is an addiction for real. It's addictive personality. A person becomes addicted to anything and everything that makes them feel good. And I remember pushing myself to the limit to where I got tired of lying. I got tired of pushing myself to the limit and not understanding why. Hey, Torrance. hey Denise, pushing myself to the limit and not knowing why. And I remember one night I was at my low point in my life, to where I had went in my room and I gathered up all these pills. Man, thank you, God. And I grabbed all these pills from cabinets, grabbing pills, putting them all together, put them in the sink, and I was crying. I was bent over, couldn't catch my breath. All I know, I was tired. I couldn't beat it. I couldn't stop using. I was to the point to where I had sat down and wrote 3 letters to Felicia, to Johnny, and to Wayne, telling them how sorry I am that I couldn't be the mom that they wanted me to be. And that I'm tired of using drugs. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of carrying this burden of, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. Hey, Robin, good to see you. I'm a nobody. And I was on 57th Street, and it was about 3:30 in the morning. I started gathering up all these pills. And so the easy way for me was to take myself out. That was the easy way for me. Because when we are users, sometimes we become cowards. We don't understand the disease of an addiction. And I didn't know I had a disease of an addiction. I just couldn't figure out why I couldn't stop. And I've been going through things, and things wasn't working, and I'm study using, study sneaking and hiding pills over here, putting alcohol over there. And I was in an atmosphere that I was finna take my own self out. I didn't need God's permission. I knew he was there, but I didn't need him permission, because it seemed like I wasn't getting the help that I needed, and I wasn't telling nobody. The inner me was dying. So I got all the pills together. And if I shed some tears, it's because of the joy. It's because of the joy that God showed me that it could be different. And I remember taking all these pills, and I wrote a letter, and I put them in the envelope, and it had all 3 of their names on it. And I remember finna take these pills. And when I tell you this ain't no lie, this ain't no lie. I remember getting all these pills now it's about 4:45, 4:50, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had it all planned, because I done let myself down. I done failed. I didn't see no hope shot in me. All I saw was negativity. All I know, I let Satan get in and corrupt this mind of mine. And I remember getting to the point, that's why I said we pushed ourselves to the limit, because our limit didn't stop. And I remember taking the letters and putting them up under my kid's pillow. And I meant to say, Felicia, Johnny, I'm sorry, but I can't handle this. I just can't handle this. I love y'all. Do good. And about 4:55, I had got these pills, and I had picked all these pills up, and I had just made a decision to let the drugs win. Now, I remember this, and God had to bring it back to me. And I got all these pills, blood pressure pills, all kind of, it was some of everything. I mixed them all up, and I said to myself, that'll kill me faster if I don't take the same thing, take a whole bunch of stuff, and swallow it. And I left these letters, and I had it in my hand. I took them and I put them in my hand. And at 4:55 in the morning, my phone rung. And I'm like, who calling me at 4:55 in the morning? You know, my phone rung. And I looked at the phone, and it was my mama's number. And I said, oh, I can't answer it. No, I can't answer it. I need to go on and do this. And then a voice said, pick it up. Pick it up, Renee. Pick it up. And I picked the phone up, pushing ourselves to the limit. Oh my God, I heard her voice. And she said, Renee? I said, hey, Mom. Renee? Whatever you finna do, don't do it. Whatever you finna do, Renee, for the love of my God, don't do it. And I'm crying and I'm weeping, and I know I'm at the lowest point in my life, but I'm trying to figure out how she know. How you know what I'm finna do? Somebody watching me? Is somebody seeing me from in the inside of my home? And it got to the point, she said, Renee, you hear me? She said, you hear me? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, what's going on? I said, Mama, I can't take it no more. I just can't stop using. She said, Renee, my God woke me up and said, right now, Peggy, get up. And your daddy was laying on the side of me, and I didn't move quick enough. Somebody pushed me out of my bed and said, call her right now. And I fell. She was crying. She said, baby, I fell. She said, and I got back in the bed and I said, okay, God, what is she trying to tell me? She said, your daughter, Renee, is in trouble. She said, get up and call her. And I guess Mama wasn't moving fast enough for God. And so she laid back down. She said, Renee, for the love of God, he pushed me again. She said, whatever you finna do, Renee, don't do it. And I was just booing and crying. It's like I'm tired. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of taking my money and spending it on hurting myself. And I don't understand. And she said, well, you got to find some help. And I said, Mama, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. I can't do this. And I was crying and I was embarrassed being on the phone telling my mama I'm finna take my own life because I don't understand this addiction. I didn't know it was an addiction, a disease of an addiction. And she said, Renee, you finna take some pills. I jumped and I said, Mama, how did you know? How did you know, Mama? How did you know that I got all these pills and then I started running it? And she said, how did you know that, Mama? You can't see me. She said, my God told me. He woke me up to save you. And I just really bust out and start crying. Every time I think about it, I get teary-eyed because I was at that moment of confusion in my life and I didn't want to live. All I thought it was the easy way out just to take myself out because I'm a crackhead. I'm everything that everybody said that I was. And I can't deal with it. And she said, Renee, she said, I'm not getting off this phone. And I said, Mama, please forgive me. She said, I ain't finna forgive you because you ain't finna do nothing. You got them 3 kids to find out why you can't stop. You got to make a turn in your life. And she sat up on that bed and she talked to me and she talked to me. And she said, Renee, you cannot do it. She said, you selfish. I'm like, how am I selfish? I'm just tired. I'm just keep messing up over and over and over again. And I don't know how to stop. She said, you got to find some help outside of them walls you in. And I just boo-hoo and cried. And I boo-hoo. She stayed on the phone with me until like 7:06 or something, 7:10. She said, Renee. I said, yes, Mom. She said, God got something better for you. Pushing myself to the limit and didn't even know why. I knew I was tired. I knew I was tired of using. I knew I was tired of playing the game on me. You know, I was tired of being lonely. I was tired of being miserable. You know, everything Satan wanted me to see, everything he wanted me to feel, he shot it to me. And I learned something that night. I fell on my knees and I said, God, search me, oh God. That God, please search me. It's a losing battle. No, I didn't do it then. My mother saved my life that time. Then about a week later, I was still using. She asked me, am I clean? Renee, you got to find some meetings. I said, oh, I'm going to a meeting. I wasn't going nowhere. Self-will was still telling me that I can't stop getting high. Pushing ourselves to the limit. The next following week, I got so high that I wouldn't answer the phones. I didn't want no more interruptions. And I was sitting there in the same letters that I wrote them. I went upstairs the night I talked to my mom and I got them letters. And premeditated thinking, I left them letters and I put them up under the inside of my pillow. Not up under my pillow, inside of the pillowcase. Making reservation to keep pushing myself to the limit so I can save that, because that was on my mind. The easy way out to stop using. And I had bought a gun. Nobody knew this. I had bought a gun. And I had put it outside on the side of my house up under this big old brick. And I remember, okay, this tonight. Mama can't save me. I'm tired. I don't like living like this. A person that had everything. A person that knew how to think right. A person that was loving and kind. A person that knew trouble when she saw trouble. A person that stayed away from people that caused her pain. And it got to the point, I just started drinking. And I built up enough nerves to go outside. Pushing myself to the limit. And I got outside. And when I got outside, it took everything I had to push this brick. For somehow, when I put it up under there, it wasn't heavy. But this night, it became intentionally heavy for me to pick up. And it's about 3 in the morning. That's why I tell you, idle mind is the devil worship. He always came to me at night when I was drunk and high and in pain. And that's how he would do me. It never was in the daytime. It was always in the nighttime. And I went outside. Thank you, God. I went outside, and this brick that I had put this gun up on it was so heavy. And I bent down, and I'm hurting as I bent down, and I felt like I'm just a failure. They will be better without me. My self-centered butt up under the alcohol and drugs. And I got the gun. I said, well, the best thing for me to do is just shoot myself outside so somebody can find me real quick. I'm not going in the house and my kids here and then they see me like that. Premeditated. Thinking of how I'm going to kill myself again. And as I was sitting there, so help me God. Thank you, God. Ooh. And I had the gun to my head. I was tired. So can't nobody tell me people don't get tired when we living up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And I tell you not. I lie to you not. A man came out the bush. I don't know this man. I ain't never seen this man. But I can tell you one thing. This man was glowing. And I thought I'm drunk. I thought I was just drunk. And he came up to me. And he asked me, what's the problem? He said, that's not the answer, Miss Lady. And I looked up at him. And he reached and touched my hand. Took the gun. And disappeared. Am I drunk? What just happened? What just happened, God? Up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And I looked all over for this man, drunk and all, trying to find this man who took the gun and disappeared. What happened? Pushing myself to the limit. Why? Why? Because I didn't have the help that I needed. I needed to understand the pain I was carrying. I didn't understand that I'm better than that. I didn't understand that God was still sending people to save my life. He sent my mama. Then he turned around and sent a man, I can't even tell you his name. All I knew when this man walked out of that bush, he was glowing. Now, if I tell somebody that, somebody gonna think they crazy. But I know I wasn't that drunk. Then I looked for my gun and I couldn't find it. And I ain't found it till today. And I went down the street, boo, hollering and crying, waking people up on 52nd and Villa. Crying in the middle of the street. Cars driving, trying to get in front of the car so they could hit me. I was at the point of dying. Because I couldn't figure it out. I didn't understand this disease of an addiction. But now that I understand it, ain't nothing else gonna ever push me to the limit. Because when you push yourself to the limit, watch out, watch out. When you push yourself to the limit, it's a problem. You know you ain't supposed to be drinking. You know you ain't supposed to get high. And I was telling him tonight, no matter what happens in my life, ain't nothing else going to push me to the limit to take my life. After I thought about it, I went to Pastor Womack. And I told him what happened. I was crying. Ooh, I was crying in his office. And he said, Renee, you ain't figured it out yet? He said, you ain't figured it out? You ain't figured it out? I said, no. Do you think you were seeing something? No. I know what I seen. And you still ain't figured it out? And I just hugged him and cried. I said it was God sending somebody to save my life. I said, but how do I know it wasn't God? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know? Because once he took the gun out, he vanished. He said, you ain't got to know. His purpose was there to save your life. You don't know who he sent. You don't know what it was, but it was a person that had an interest of coming to save your life. Nah, y'all don't know what a person been through. Don't nobody know how many times they was on deaths. They was wanting to die, and they felt like their death sentence was their own. Let me tell you something. I'm so glad Mama helped. God intervened with me with them pills. I'm so glad that Mama, that God or whoever pushed her out of her bed at 4:55 in the morning, because it saved my life that week. And then the next week, what was my reason for buying the gun? What was my reason for pushing myself to the limit to buy this gun to kill me? I figured it out, y'all. Pain. Hey, Dwayne. Pain. Pain. Confusion. The battles inside of me. Not understanding that the drugs that I was taking was killing me already. It was the battle in me, pushing me to the limit. You ain't worthy. God don't love you. You're a crackhead. You're a dope fiend. You're a mistake. You're a failure. I hear you, cuz. Ram in the bush. And when it got to that point, and after that, mother thought I was doing okay. Until I crawled on that floor and took her money. That was right after that. How many times have Mama saved my life? Intervened into my life to help spare me? How many times do we push ourselves to the limit? From hurt, denial, pain. Especially when we love somebody and they keep pushing us away, and we have in our mind that we are in denial. It don't take nothing for me to know I'm never pushing myself to the limit for me or nobody else. When a God of your understanding come into your life and save your life multiples of times, when you gonna wake up? When is you gonna wake up? I went to a meeting tonight, and this guy came from a relapse. And he said to me, he said, I relapsed. So it was a reason for me to go in and sit in that meeting tonight. He said, I relapsed. He said, but it's such a good feeling to get hugs and love in the building. And I say, don't use, no matter what. So I spoke. Ain't nothing nobody can bring to me that's going to cause me to push myself to the limit. If something happened in my life that I ain't got no control over, using ain't going to help. Drinking ain't going to help. Popping many pills ain't going to help. We can't use no matter what happens. But you know what I learned coming into treatment? That the Satan will show you the worst of you, all the bad things of you, and God will intervene and show you the good in you. And I found that when I went to treatment, that I wasn't alone. Man, I never knew it was a world like this where all the peoples that went through more than I did, or all the peoples that have tried to kill themselves because they couldn't stop using. I wasn't the only one. I probably was the only one that talked about it. I ain't never got to use. Y'all ain't never got to use. Ain't no matter what. I'm going to tell you something. The greatest pain is our kids' pain. Because y'all been following me for a long time, and you know I was going through something with my daughter. You know, my son is in jail right now, locked up. And he called me, and I asked him a question right before I got on here. He said, Mama, He said, I know you are sad and disappointed in me. I said, I am. I said, I am, son. You my baby boy. Johnny gone now. I only got you and Felicia now. And then my other girls I adopted, they still my babies too. I said, but when are you going to wake up? Why is you pushing yourself to the limit? Why is it? What's missing? You know, see, we are so, I am a compulsive person. And a compulsive person means that you do things on impulse. You do things because you want to do things. You deny everything that you know you already done seen. You deny the love that you've been trying to get from one of your kids or from your cousin or from your mama or daddy. You deny that's there. You know, instead of fixing the problem, instead of letting people be where they at so they can learn on their own, some people just in denial. I ain't in no denial. I know when somebody pushing me away or don't love me, I didn't before. When I was in active using, I settled for anything and everything. But when a God of your understanding come into your life and he starts showing you truth, say, what is truth? Truth mean I ain't got to push myself to the limit. Truth, I ain't got to take my own life who I didn't give life. Truth, I can make things better long as I don't use. I can figure it out. I can see what's wrong with that situation. Truth, I'm worthy. You are worthy. We are worthy of happiness. We shouldn't have to die in miserable, or we shouldn't have to die in pain. I hate this disease. This disease has caused me nothing but pain, deception of being somebody that I didn't like, you know, letting people come in my life that I knew that wasn't good for me, accepting anything and everybody to come in my life with the evil spirits and help me use and help me smoke up my money and help me drink up my money. Them peoples had no love for me because they were addicts and didn't know they were addicts, just like I was. Hey, Renee, accept that. I had to learn how to accept things that I can't control, to be still and leave it alone. I had to learn that. Pushing yourself to the limit will bring you some. Yeah, and let me tell you something about pushing yourself to the limit. If I had not pushed myself to the limit, I wouldn't be here. Because pushing myself to the limit caused me to find the strength in me that I didn't even think I had. And it'll be the same way for you. Pushing yourself to the limit to figure out why I keep using, why I can't stop, why do I keep going back, why do I keep going back in and out, pushing yourself to the limit. For one thing, I didn't surrender. I hadn't totally surrendered. But now that I'm clean and I look back at all the terrible things I've done, bent over in pain, you didn't break me. I didn't break. Even at the lowest point of my life, I didn't break. Do you know how so many people leave this world because they broken themselves? They broke themselves. They didn't give God a chance to show them the better in them. They didn't give God a chance to let them come into their lives and figure out some stuff that they never had answers to before. Come on. Come on. Thank you, God. Come on. Because I had to figure out some things that happened to me and caused me some pain that a kid shouldn't even have to know about. And then you start carrying all that mess in your upbringing. As you get older, you start carrying them defects of character. You start carrying all that sadness, and you bring it into a relationship. You bring it into your family. You bring it into the outside world. I had to figure some stuff out I had to find out, Renee, what's wrong with you? Renee, what's wrong with you? And guess what? I didn't break. I done slept with tears on my face on many nights. Even when I got clean. So grateful to understand a God that I thought I knew, but I really didn't know how he worked. I didn't know how he worked. We was brought up in the house talking about God. I didn't know how he worked until I reached myself and pushed myself to the limit. So you know what the limit did for me? Pushing yourself to the limit gonna create some growth. Come on, Renee. It's gonna create some growth. It's gonna create some love. It's gonna create some understanding. It's gonna create some forgiving. It's going to create some peace. It's going to create some balance. It's going to create some love. It's going to create joy. Something that the drugs took from me. I can't live for nobody else. I got to live for me. My expectation ain't no more on other people's or what other people think. I was lost in life at a time, at once in a point of time. Walking around lost. Do you know how many people walk around here lost? And we look at them and not wondering what's wrong with them. Or thinking they crazy. They lost. That's why every time I run up on one, if I got to help him or go get him, feed him, my kids look at me like I was crazy. Because last week, some lady and her husband was out here, you know, and I knew they was on drugs. Because one of them used to be in the meeting. And I had to tell my kids, I said, she said, Miss, I remember you from the 12 step. And my kids looking at them and all strange. She said, all we want is something to eat. I said, I ain't giving you no money. I said, babies, y'all get over. Get in the car. And I took them to Wendy's. I said, now get them whatever they want. Paying it forward. Because I was in that shoe. I was in that wilderness walking the streets lost. I know what it feel like. And if you ain't never been there and ain't never did no drugs and you ain't never let Satan come in and give you all these different drugs and alcohol, then you wouldn't understand. I made it out of the dark days. I didn't break. I could have. I didn't break. Every storm I made, every storm I went through, somehow I made it out. Do y'all hear me? Things might look so bad, you can't see your way out. But you got to turn that over. You can't keep telling yourself, let me take something that's going to make me feel good and not knowing that it's going to hurt you in the long run. Right now, I felt so alone in my using. When it was so many people around me when I wasn't isolating. But do you know you can have people around you? Come on, Renee. You can have people around you and still you alone. Because you ain't figured out. I ain't got to buy love no more. I ain't got to give my kids everything they want. See, that's my fault. You know, I created them monsters. Felicia and Johnny and Wayne didn't go without nothing. I wasn't buying them no $200 and $300 pair of shoes and stuff like that. My kids was appreciative of what I did do. But I wasn't buying. I started buying them when I got out of recovery. My sponsor said, well, what the hell you doing? Why is you buying your kids? Your recovery is your recovery and you don't have to pay for it. But you will be paying for it if you buying your kids everything you want because you trying to make up for lost costs. Stop it. Stop it. For it hurts you in the long run. Because once you start saying no to your kids and start saying no, they get mad. I went through that. She was so right. Because I did everything I could when I got clean. When I got clean, I did everything I could to pacify me from you. Pacifying all the pain I caused them from me using. So I bought them things. I bought them cars. And I bought them this and I bought them that. And then I would just have myself in a rut. They kept looking for me to just take care of them. Kept looking for me to give them. Kept looking for me to send them money. Kept looking for me. Kept looking for me. Kept looking for me. And I had to sit down and I had to figure some stuff out. That's why I said, you know, Satan didn't break me. He almost. Anytime you get to the lowest point of your life and you pushing yourself to the limit to where you want to take your life, thank God for the person that I never knew his name. Thank God for the person that took the gun out of my hand and I don't know what happened to my gun. But the person who took it from me knew I didn't need it. And now you can't pay me to buy another gun. So, through pushing our limits, bring us something new. It bring us, I can be anything I want to be and do anything I want to do. You know, pushing myself to the limit. Guess what? I told my daughter 2 days ago, I said, I'm going to get me a job. Mama, what? What you need a job for? I said, I want to work. And she said, you ain't finna get no job. I said, yes, I am. And I said, I bet you I'll get it before Saturday. See, you got to learn how to speak. You got to learn how to speak what you want. And she said, no, you ain't going to go. I said, yeah, I am. And when I went to the 12 steps today, I was coming from the interview. And I got the job. And I called her. She said, you got the job. I said, I got the job. I said, I told you I was going to get it. See, I learned how to have authority over my life. And I learned how to speak positively in my life. God, you ain't failed me. Everything that I thought had broke me, everything that y'all thought had broke y'all, it didn't break you. It made you stronger. It made you know who you are. It validates that you are important, that you have dreams, you have hopes, and it ain't going to die long as you don't use. Long as you don't use. Possibilities is every day and always every day. I ain't never got to use. You ain't never got to use. Come on. Now, relapse ain't in me. I ain't finna relapse. Hey, y'all don't know what God spared me from. Y'all don't know how many times I done died and he brought me back. Y'all don't know how many times I done tried to take my life. You know, because I didn't let y'all know all that. I gave you bits and pieces. But I got a story, and it's going to be in my book. I got a story that everybody must hear. Some things I still ain't told you about. But as God give me clarity, then I bring it and put it on a piece of paper so I can tell you how God didn't allow me to break. I ain't breaking for nobody. I ain't going to no, I'm not pushing myself to no limits. And y'all don't need to push yourself to no limits neither. I celebrate me. Celebrate. What that mean, Renee? Celebrate. You celebrate your clean time. You celebrate your thoughts. You celebrate your change. You celebrate that you didn't break. You celebrate you made it. You celebrate you making it through. You walking it through. You celebrate you. Because did nobody go through that? Did nobody go through that but you? And nobody went through the things you went through but you. There's other people in the world went through the thing, but they different faces on different bodies. But I went through something I didn't. I'm not pushing myself to the limit for nobody. I'm not even pushing myself to the limit for me. Because pushing yourself to the limit can cause you harm, cause you death, cause you pain, cause you joy, take away your peace, take away your stability to want to do anything but get high. No. I know I have a testimony. And wherever God put me, that's where I do it. That's where I tell it. And I don't play with recovery. Recovery didn't play with me. Long as I was working the program helped me. It helped deliver me. It helped show me that no matter what, long as I don't pick up that alcohol, pick up that drug, pick up them pills, pick up anything that's going to alter my mood, I ain't got to use. That phone call at 4:55 in the morning. My mama, y'all. Y'all don't know how much I miss my mama. For the ones who got a mama, y'all don't know. My mother was the best thing that happened to me, Selena and Phil. And I was so glad she saw me clean. I was so glad when I was the president at the 12 step. I was so glad that she came in and met my friends that didn't use. My mama. My mama is the part of helping me keeping myself together. I ain't gonna never use no matter what happens. When they told me I had cancer, when they told me I had meningitis, when they told me that call the pastor, call the reverend, I'll never go back to using again. It's detrimental to you when you're using, because you never know when you're gonna die. So many of my friends, if they had known that using that last time would cause them not to be here, man, y'all don't know how many funerals that we done been through. Cousin Pam, no. Y'all don't know how many funerals my friends, my 4 best friends, other than the 2 I got left, I only had 6. And they gone. They went back. They didn't make it back. How many times did I go back? How many times did I tell myself I'm done? How many times did I say, God, I'm done, standing over a toilet making many promises and never kept them? How many times did I do that? How many times did I hurt myself over and over again? How many times did y'all hurt yourself over and over again? How many times did you put yourself in danger zone? How many times did you say you was going, if God give you one more chance and you wake up, you going to stop, but you didn't? The God of my understanding is so good. And when he talks to me, I listen. And when he tells me to do something, I obey. Because now he has control over my life. He's the steering wheel that I used to couldn't drive. He's the steering wheel, y'all, where I used to couldn't drive. You know, I get in the seat and I act like I'm driving, but I was driving to Neverland. Where at? Where was I going? Why was I pushing myself to the limit to go buy drugs? Pushing myself to the limit to go sell some coochie? Why was I pushing myself to not find out why I'm in so much pain? What took me there? What brought me there? What's going to bring me out? Man, our plan, God can unplan. Because see, my plan never worked. That was 2 big examples. I told you it never worked. The God had a purpose for our lives. He got a purpose for everybody that's on this site right now. Everybody that's going to come up on this site, he got a purpose. I had a young lady tonight when I went to a meeting. Oh, a lot of stuff happened in this meeting. And I've never been to a Friday meeting in my life. Unless it was to a convention or something. And somebody that I love truly said she went to the doctor and she got a mass. And God told me to tell her, stay focused and trust her. And I said just what I told her just what he said. I said, God told me to tell you, don't lose faith, stay focused and trust him. Not even the doctors, none of that. Trust him. Trust the God of my understanding. Don't trust man. Don't trust, tell him to kind of put a blessing on the, when you get ready to have surgery, tell him you can do that. But God still got control. See, when we learn how to surrender, that's when the doors start opening. When we learn that we don't have to push ourselves to the limit, to belittle ourselves, to accept anything in our lives, you're on your way. Man, it took me a lot to tell y'all that. It really did. It took me a lot trying to hold my exposure. But if the tears flow, they just have to flow. But when I tell you that gun, that little thing I went through, well, it's a big thing to me. And I couldn't explain to people who he was or whatever. That was when then my mama called. How did she know? Seriously. How did she know that I was finna take my life and then wrote 3 suicide letters to my kids? And as I pushed myself to the limit and I came into recovery to find out why, now I know why. Pain, hurt, confusion, no patience. And when we push ourselves to the limit, great things come out. I never will push myself to the limit ever again. Because the more you push yourself to the limit, okay, Renee, how do we push ourselves to the limit? Start caretaking and start picking up our behaviors and start trying to, help other people. And we can help people, but over and over again, trying to buy love that you will never end up buying. That's got to come naturally. Trying to act like we somebody who we ain't. That's what I told my son tonight. I said, yeah, you disappointed me, but I must have disappointed my mama when I sold dope and went to jail. I said, but only person that could change is you. Enough is enough. If you want to spend your life in jail and not stay sober, you got 2 addictions. You got selling drugs and you got alcohol addiction. Now, if you didn't learn nothing from me and you watch me and you be on my lives, you know you in the wrong. And he know when he called me, I'm going to keep it real with him. I don't know no other kind of way. Yeah, you disappointed me, but I ain't breaking. You disappointed me, but I ain't giving up on you. You disappointed me, you going to make it, you going to get it. I speak life in him. You going to change, you going to get it, Wayne. You a good kid. A very good kid, but you like making fast money too quick. And fast money too quick cause you death or jail. But as far as a good kid, don't run with nobody. And he got so many white friends I just don't know where. Well, maybe in Oshkosh, because it's full of white people, but they got people that really love him. But you got to learn to love yourself. Anybody got to learn to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you ain't going to give you the best. You have to learn to love you when all odds you thought was against you. You have to learn how to accept who you are and be secure with who you are. So I can't tell y'all that once I find out my shift, that I must tell y'all that it will still be 8 o'clock. I'm going to still try to make it be 8 o'clock. I'm still going to try to fight for that. And if you see me on here, you know I got it. I got the 8 o'clock. If I have to come on here later, I'm never going to stop doing the broadcast because I don't want God to disappoint me. He gave this to me. He told me how to do it. He told me, guide my tongue. And I thank him for guiding my tongue. I thank him for me always sending out positive energy. Because that's how we live. That's how we work. Positive energy. Not downing nobody. Not hitting nobody. Not fighting nobody. You know, I don't like all that stuff that I see. I just bypass it. Because that ain't who I am. When we learn that pushing ourselves to the limit cause us to make a U-turn and push ourselves to be the best. I'm the best now. Pushing myself to the limit caused me to learn how to be the best. So pushing ourselves to the limit and we got on drugs and alcohol, we can push ourselves to be the best. People do change. You can change. I'm always give my son or anybody I'm around that know me positivity. I'm not going to talk about you when you're already broken. He broke it. I can hear it on the phone. He broke it. But you got consequences from your actions of what you have done. When I was using, I had consequences of actions that the things that I have did or the things that I had done. It's always got to show up you learning accountability. Accountability is that's a great thing. You know, accountability is a filling out the world that you accepted that you made a mistake. You accepted that you know you got to make a change. You accepted that you know you got to do better than what you're doing. Accountability means a lot to me. I always am accountable for my actions because I ain't using. I ain't never got to use no more. I don't want to use. That's pain behind using. I'm an addicted person. I can get addicted to anything. I always have to remember that. I always have to remember that just like if I love sex, and I know once I get addicted to sex, it's a different way I got to do it. It's a different way I got to do it. Because I used to like to have, you know, I used to like to do things every day. Well, I ain't doing it every day. But I miss it. And I'm okay without it. Because once we get addicted to something, it can cause pain in the long run. I learned that by using drugs and alcohol. I learned that by accepting failure in my life. I learned it by me breaking. You know, I was at a point where I was broken. I was at a point not figuring out why I got raped at 9 by somebody I trust. I can go on and on with stuff that was done to me, but then I can also turn it around and go on to things that I've done to other people because of my pain, because of my using, because of me doubting myself, didn't see a hope shot. But see, God gave me something that He knew I was striving for. That's why He sent them 2 people to save my life, because He knew before I knew that I was finna make a turnaround. He knew I wasn't gonna push myself to the limit no more after this, and I ain't. I stay neutral. I'm positive. I keep a balance in my life. If you can't come in my life and be a balance with me in my life, then we are unequally yoked. Because I have a balance in my life. I learned how to balance my life. I learned how not to hold on to pain. Pain will kill you. Pain will hurt you. Pain will destroy you. Pain will take you out of here. I understand that now. So, you know, next week, I thank y'all for my supporters. I thank y'all for the ones who come on later. I thank you for the ones that come on night, noon, day, you know, because let me tell you something. Don't think that you ain't gonna never run into nobody or your friends or your associated and they ain't addicts. Don't think that. Addicts, the disease of an addiction will pop in your home or pop with somebody you know or pop in your friendship. Look, this world is in a terrible place right now. No lie. I'm so glad I came up in the generation that I came up, because it was never this. I don't even know what you call this, but all I do know, I can't use no matter what. Whatever happens, happens, but I can't use. And I just believe God has me covered. I just really believe that. I believe that God had favor in me. And I believe he got favor on all his peoples. But I took it personal. You saved me. You delivered me. I got good news. Celebrate me. Celebrate you. Because God had favor. He done took control over things that we could not see. We have been in the danger zone, and somehow he stepped in when we didn't even know we was in a danger zone. And I tell God every day, I said, God, for whoever that was glowing so, I couldn't even tell you. It sounded like he had a deep voice, but then it sounded like a woman. But I'll never figure it out. God had to tell me, don't figure it out. You just got it. You got the message. And it baffled me for years how somebody came out of a bush and saved my life. And I thank God for him saving my life because I was selfish, self-centered, and not to think that I would even want my kids to see that last impression of me with a gunshot or some pills overdose. I'm so glad that God sent whoever he sent to cover me. That's why I'm never going back to using, no matter what. And I don't allow myself, because anybody to tell you, I stay to myself. I don't need a lot of people to validate who I am. I don't need to surround my people or act like this person or do this person. I don't need that. I just have to keep a balance in my life so I won't use no matter what happens. I thank y'all so very much. I thank y'all for being a part of my process, and I thank my process for being a part of me. You know, we even wanted to get on here. Ain't nothing gonna stop me because I know from this site how many people is touched, how many people that have called, how many people I have took to the treatment facility. How many, y'all don't know this, see? Y'all don't know how many times I go pick up a person and they get my name off of this site. Renee Williams. Don't even know me. But they done heard me speak and say, Renee, Miss Williams, can you come get me? I'm on Highland. That was last week. Husband and wife on Highland. And I dropped them off at a facility. See, that's called working, paying it forward, behind the scene. I ain't gonna never forget where I come from, and I ain't gonna never forget where I've been. But I never want to forget where I'm going, because I know I'm going to a place that's better for me, because it's better for me now. For real. You know, before I closed, my daughter was saying, you act like you ain't nervous. I'm not. Why am I nervous? Because I'm going to an interview. I ain't worked since 2012. I worked all my life since I was 14. My Social Security, my pension, I got it all. She said, you act like you ain't nervous. I'm not. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. That's what my life consists as now. Ain't no more disappointments. Ain't no more disappointments. Because I changed the way I think. I changed the way I act. Ain't no disappointments. If I don't get it, it's another one. And that's how you have to do your life. If that didn't work out, the next decision will work out. Don't never down yourself till you think that you can't do anything. 65 years going to work. Why? Why, Renee? Because I want to. Something to do. Another challenge in my life. I told that man, he said, well, why do you want to go to work? He said, man, he said, yo, what did he say? He said, he told the boss, she told another girl when I was in the interview, he said, why did you wait so long to find her? Because she just called me and said she, wanted a job. And he said, your energy is magnificent. I said, oh, I know. He looked at me. He started, I said, I know. Positive energy reaches somebody with energy. And my energy gonna always be positive. You can't break me. You can't hurt me. You can mistreat me, and you can stay away from me too. You can do that too, because nothing is gonna break me. When God saved my life, I said from that day on, God, nothing will break me or surprise me. And I'm on that path. I don't ever want to use again. I'm never using again. So I thank y'all. I thank y'all so much. And we are on step Sunday. I ain't going to say my favorite. I ain't going to say my favorite, but I wanted to say step 11 is this. Now this is one of my favorites. I ain't going to lie before I get off. It says we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry the message out. That's what I'm doing. Do y'all hear me? That's what I'm doing. And I tell people, if you don't like, skip the page. Because somebody on here want to find out how did I do it. Somebody on here want to find out how can they get help. How can they stop using. It ain't always about the funny stuff and getting fights and all showing booty. There ain't none of that. People are dying from this disease of an addiction. They killing other people due to the disease of an addiction. They killing themselves due to the disease of an addiction. So, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. The same God that's been good to me is the same God that's been good to y'all. And don't ever doubt Him. Always trust Him. And it's the trust that moves God. It's the knowledge to know, God, I know you got me. That's what you got to tell yourself. And whatever you're going through, you need to see why you're going through it. Because if you don't, you're pushing yourself to the limit. So I love y'all. I see y'all Tuesday, Sunday at 2 o'clock. God bless you. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Wanda Pam. Thank you, Torrance. Thank you for the Robin. Thank you for the people that I can't see now. I forgot who was on there. Robin and some more people. Denise Harris. I love you, baby. I didn't even see you pop up there. I just saw you. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. I thank God for any time a person can change their way of thinking. Because even in recovery, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell y'all something, then I'm going to close. Even in recovery, we have haters in recovery. We have people that come in and ain't working what we working on. We have people, I've seen people come in there one way and change their whole entire lives. And Denise and Pam, you the two I know that's on here. And I'm very proud of my cousin Pam with 25 years. I'm very proud of Denise because Denise walked in one way and changed your life in another way. So I'm proud of you, Denise. Keep it up. I'm proud of, cousin, you know I'm proud of you. I love you, girl. That cousin been around forever. I love you. Auntie Wanda, thank y'all so much. My sister Evangelist Selena Green, thank you. She's one of my biggest fans, and I thank God she come, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank God for being a part of our lives, helping us out of a situation that we thought we couldn't get out of. But somewhere God knows what's best. Love y'all. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'm finna go to bed. I enjoyed y'all tonight. I enjoyed everybody on here. I let y'all learn some more secrets about me that I hadn't shared. And thank y'all for being a good listener. Thank y'all for coming on here. You don't know how much I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I just ain't gonna lie. I look forward to seeing y'all on Fridays. I look forward to seeing you on Sundays. You know, you give me that energized to want to just give you the best of me. And I'm going to always give you the best of me. And Mother Maddie, I love you. I told you I'm going to make an appointment with you, Mother Maddie. I want to meet the lady that I enjoy talking to on Facebook. So we got to work some out good. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for being positive energy to me. And if nobody told you they love you, tell them Miss Renee Williams says she love y'all. I'll see y'all Sunday. Good night. And stay positive and only use positive words. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night. Good night.